Imagine a world where your personal fitness trainer is always at your side, guiding your workouts, tracking your progress, and motivating you to reach your fitness goals. Or a day when your doctor can predict potential health risks before they even manifest thanks to advanced AI powered diagnostics. Sounds like science fiction. Well, it's not. It's our very near future. Anyway, welcome back to KED's podcast, where we explore the exciting, often mind-bending world of artificial intelligence, or AI for short. If you thought AI was just about smart speakers and voice assistants, think again. From diagnosing diseases with unprecedented accuracy to creating personalized learning paths for students, AI is transforming every aspect of our lives at a breathtaking pace. But why should you care? Simple. Because this isn't just about the latest tech gadgets or futuristic concepts. It's about how these innovations are shaping your daily routines, your job prospects, and even your relationships. AI is here to stay, and understanding its implications is crucial for every one of us. In today's episode, we dive into the nitty-gritty of AI integration, from its astonishing potential to challenges it poses. We'll look at how AI can revolutionize healthcare, education, transportation, and entertainment, making your life not only more efficient, but also more enjoyable. But with great power comes great responsibility, right? So we'll also delve into the ethical considerations and regulatory hurdles that come with AI's rapid advancement. So buckle up as we embark on this adventure through the world of AI. By the end of this podcast, you'll be better equipped to navigate the AI revolution and seize its opportunities. And who knows, you might even start dreaming about your own AI-powered personal fitness trainer. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into some seriously fascinating stuff today about AI. But this isn't just about the tech itself, you know. It's about how it's rippling out, impacting like everything else.
Yeah, it really is.
We're going to be talking about how governments are scrambling to regulate it, how it's changing the way we work and live, and even, honestly, how it's shifting global power dynamics.
It is.
So to really get into this, we've got a ton of sources to pull from, like policy papers, tech analysis reports, economic forecasts, even some pretty wild case studies from like scam compounds in Southeast Asia to the digital front lines of the war in Ukraine. Get ready, folks, because this is some mind-blowing stuff.
What really strikes me is how much of this is happening right now. We're not just speculating about some far-off future. We're talking about the changes that are impacting your life today, probably even if you don't realize it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's start with the regulatory landscape. It feels like governments around the world are in this mad dash to figure out how to handle this AI explosion, and there are some pretty stark differences in their approaches.
Yeah, it's a real clash of philosophies. The Brookings Institution, for example, they point out how the U.S., now that Trump is back in office, is leaning towards a more hands-off approach. They're even considering rolling back some regulations from the Biden era.
Oh, wow. So it's like a pendulum swinging back and forth depending on who's in charge.
Yeah. The idea is that less government interference equals faster innovation, but the Council on Foreign Relations, they're arguing that this could actually backfire. By taking that route, the U.S. could make it harder for American companies to compete on a global scale, especially with the EU going in the total opposite direction with stricter rules like their AI Act. They're all about oversight and control.
So it's a balancing act, right? You want to foster innovation, but you also want to protect against the potential risks. And it's not just on the international stage either. Here in the U.S., we've got this whole state versus federal battle brewing over AI regulation.
And that's a real headache for businesses trying to stay compliant. You've got this patchwork of laws to navigate. The Brookings Institution actually called it a patchwork. Like, try to imagine keeping up with different AI regulations in Colorado, Utah, and California all at the same time. Yeah, talk about a compliance nightmare.
Makes you wonder if all this back and forth will end up stifling U.S. innovation, while China, which isn't exactly known for its hands-off approach to anything, you know, surges ahead in AI development.
Yeah, and it's not just the U.S. and China either. It's interesting, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace points out that India is taking a more cautious approach, kind of a middle ground, I guess. They're focusing on classifying risks and promoting self-regulation. So a lot of different approaches to this regulatory puzzle.
Yeah, but let's bring it down to earth for a second. Like, how is AI already messing with our daily lives, you know?
I mean, think about it. How often are you interacting with algorithms? Recommendations online, personalized content, that's AI at work.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond our phones. Deloitte found that 28% of workers are already using generative AI in their jobs, and for 8%, it's actually encouraged by their employers.
Okay, so it's already woven into our work lives, even if we don't realize it, but what does that actually mean for our jobs? Like, is the robot takeover happening tomorrow? Should it be scared?
Well, Deloitte highlights three major effects of AI on the job market. They call them displacement, reinstatement, and productivity.
Okay, break those down for me. What does that mean?
So displacement, we've all heard about this one, right? It's
Yeah.
jobs being lost to automation.
Right.
But then you have reinstatement, which is the creation of new jobs to manage and work with AI systems. Think AL trainers, data analysts, all of that.
Oh, really?
And then the productivity effect, AI can help people get more done, boost their output, which could lead to, higher demand in other sectors.
So more jobs over there, maybe.
Right, exactly.
So it's not just a simple robots are stealing our job situation. It's kind of rippling across the entire economy.
Exactly. But Deloitte is also saying that some workers and regions might feel negative impacts from AI. It's not all sunshine and roses.
Yeah, of course. So what do we do? Like, how do we even prepare for this AI-powered future that's already happening?
Well, Deloitte's advice is to focus on those things AI can't really replicate, those enduring human capabilities, things like curiosity, empathy, working well in teams, and being adaptable.
So more than just having the right technical skills, it's about those things that make us, like, human, valuable in a world that's constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a minute and talk about AI's influence on, like, our lives outside of work.
Okay.
Where else are we seeing its impact?
This is where we get to look at some really cool examples, like Kazakhstan, for instance.
Oh, okay.
They've basically gone all in on this digital everything economy, and it's kind of a glimpse into what the future might hold for a lot of us.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So, just 15 years ago, only about a third of Kazakhs used the internet. Now it's almost 100% using online banking.
Right.
They went from almost no internet usage to digital everything. And this happened because the government really focused on building that digital infrastructure. Things like biometric IDs, open banking, they went all out.
So they went all in on digital, and it seems like it's working out for them. But are there downsides? I mean, that seems risky, going digital for everything.
Well, the Center for Strategic and International Studies points out that this has really opened up access to things like government services and financial transfers. Kazakhstan is now in the top 30 of the UN's e-government index. That's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
But there are potential downsides. They also point to challenges faced in other countries like India, where they've had data breaches in their Aadhaar biometric system. That raised some serious concerns about privacy and security.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a trade-off, like most things, I guess. More convenience and efficiency might mean you're also more vulnerable if the systems aren't designed with security as a priority.
Definitely.
But, when we talk about the downsides of technology, we can't ignore, like, the really dark side of things. The AI-powered scams, the rise of cybercrime, all that.
It's a growing problem, and one that's deeply connected to the rise of AI. The Stimson Center is warning that cybercrime is on the rise, especially in the Indo-Pacific region.
Oh, wow. What's going on over there?
You've got these criminal networks in places like Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and the Philippines, and they're running these sophisticated scam compounds.
Scam compounds. What is it? Like a call center, but for scamming?
Basically. And they're using AI to run these things. They're using AI to target people all over the world, and it's incredibly profitable. Like, get this. The global profits from these scams are actually higher than those of the illicit drug trade.
No way. That's crazy. So what can be done? Like, how do you even fight that?
The Stimson Center says we need a multi-pronged approach. They suggest setting up a national command center to, coordinate things and really emphasize strong international cooperation.
Yeah, this is a global problem.
Exactly. It needs a global solution. It's almost like we're on the edge of this whole new era of cyber warfare, and AI is right at the center of it all.
And it's not just criminal networks, right? AI is showing up in traditional geopolitical conflicts, too.
Right.
Think about Ukraine's IT army, those volunteer hackers who've been causing trouble for Russia's digital infrastructure.
Yeah, and they're making a difference. The Eurasia Review points out that even though the IT Army's Telegram subscriber count has gone down, their impact is actually increasing. They've supposedly caused something like $1-2 billion in economic damage to Russia. That's a pretty significant blow.
Wow. So we're seing AI being used as a weapon, basically, and in new and powerful ways. It makes you wonder how this is all going to play out, especially with global power dynamics already shifting so much.
Well, the FPIF, which focuses on building responsible global partnerships, they're pointing out that Trump's second term could actually make things even more complicated in the Middle East.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE have these big ambitions for tech. And American companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, they're already deeply involved in their digital infrastructure.
Oh, okay.
So the question is, could this be a new form of American influence? Like, are we moving away from traditional military dominance towards something more subtle, control through technology?
That's a really interesting question. And it's one that we'll have to explore further as we continue this conversation. But for now, I think we need to take a break. We've covered a lot of ground, and I need a moment to process it all.
Yeah, me too.
But don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back to dive deeper into this fascinating world of AI.
It really is a lot to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like, we've talked about how AI is shaping things globally, but let's zoom in a bit. What does this mean for us as, like, individuals living in this AI-powered world?
Well, one thing that's clear is this isn't some far-off future scenario anymore. It's happening right now.
Right. It's not about, like, flying cars and robot maids. It's about how AI is already a part of our everyday lives, even in subtle ways.
Exactly. And that brings us back to those essential human skills we were talking about before the break. The ability to be curious, to adapt and learn, to connect with other people on a human level. All of that is more important than ever.
It's almost like the more advanced technology gets, the more valuable our humanness becomes.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. And that's actually something Deloitte highlights in their report. They even talk about this case study from a pharmaceutical company in Japan that's experimenting with a 4-day work week.
A 4-day work week. Well, that sounds nice.
Right. Their whole idea is to encourage employees to use that extra time to explore their interests and pursue, like, digital upskilling on their own.
So they're basically saying, like, hey, we trust you to use your time wisely, learn, grow, and bring those new skills and insights back to the company.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that learning can't be confined to the classroom or the office anymore. It's a constant process.
And it also highlights the importance of work-life balance. Like, if we're going to thrive in this world where AI is increasingly integrated, we need time to recharge, to connect with what we're passionate about, and to nurture those human qualities that make us resilient.
Yeah, that's so important. It's a good reminder that at the end of the day, AI isn't just about the technology itself. It's about people and how we use it to create a better future.
I love that. But okay, let's shift gears again for a minute and talk about the impact of AI beyond our jobs. What about its influence on our daily lives, like in general?
We're seeing AI pop up in healthcare, education, even transportation. The list goes on and on.
It really does, yeah.
But I think one of the most interesting examples is the rise of what you might call a digital everything economy. We touched on it a bit before the break with Kazakhstan.
Right.
They've gone all in on building this digital infrastructure, and it's fascinating to see how it's playing out.
It is. Like, they went from relatively low internet usage to almost everyone using online banking in a pretty short amount of time. It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is, and it's not just Kazakhstan. We're seeing this trend toward digitalization in countries all over the world. It raises some interesting questions, though, about the potential benefits and drawbacks.
Yeah, for sure. Like, on the one hand, you've got increased access to services, faster transactions, all that good stuff. But then there are the risks, right?
Exactly. The CSIS, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, they point to some of the challenges that have popped up in India with their Aadhaar biometric system. They've had some pretty serious data breaches, which raises concerns about privacy and security.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword for sure.
It is. You get all this convenience and efficiency, but you also potentially increase your vulnerability if the systems aren't designed with security in mind from the get-go.
And speaking of vulnerability, we have to talk about the dark side of all this digitalization, right? The scams, the cybercrime. It's a pretty scary landscape out there.
It really is. And it's getting worse. The Stimson Center's report talks about this alarming rise in cybercrime, especially in the Indo-Pacific region. It's a major concern.
I know we talked about those scam compounds before the break, which, I mean, just the term scam compound sounds terrifying. But, like, how bad is it really?
It's bad. Like, really bad. Those criminal networks, they're using AI to run these sophisticated scams that target people all over the world. And the amount of money they're making is unbelievable. Globally, profits from these scams now exceed those of the illicit drug trade.
Oh, okay. I did not realize it was that serious. That's a whole other level. So what can we do about it? How do we even begin to fight back against that?
The Stimson Center suggests a few things. They say we need a national command center to help coordinate efforts, and we need to really ramp up international cooperation. This isn't a problem any one country can solve on its own.
It feels like we're entering this new era of cyber warfare, and AI is the weapon of choice.
That's a good way to put it. And it's not just criminals using it either. We're seeing AI play a role in more traditional geopolitical conflicts too. Like think about Ukraine's IT army.
Oh yeah, the volunteer hackers?
Right, and they're actually having a significant impact. The Eurasia Review points out that while their numbers might be dwindling a bit, their effectiveness is actually increasing. They've reportedly caused somewhere between $1 and $2 billion in economic damage to Russia, which is pretty significant considering everything else going on.
So we're seeing AI being used as a weapon, basically,
Oh.
and in new and unsettling ways.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you wonder where all of this is headed.
It really does. And the implications are huge, especially when you consider how AI is intertwined with the shifting power dynamics between countries. Like the FPAF, they're suggesting that Trump's second term could further complicate things in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Well, countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE have these big ambitions when it comes to tech, and U.S. companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they're all deeply involved in building their digital infrastructure.
Oh, I see. So it's a new kind of power play, maybe. Like instead of traditional military might, it's influence through technology.
Exactly. And that's something we need to pay close attention to because it could have major implications for the future of the region and beyond.
Wow. There's so much to unpack here. From scam compounds to digital warfare to the future of work, AI is touching everything.
It really is. And it's moving so fast, it's hard to keep up.
I know, right? It's like we're trying to drink from a fire hose.
Right.
But that's why we're here, right? To try to make sense of it all, to understand how this technology is impacting our world and what it means for the future.
Exactly.
So where do we go from here? How do we navigate this AI-powered world with all of its complexities and uncertainties?
That's the question, isn't it? And I don't think there are any easy answers. But I do think it starts with being aware, with being informed, with asking the right questions.
I love that. Like, don't just blindly accept the technology. Question it. Think critically about how it's being used and what the potential consequences might be.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to push back if you see something that doesn't sit right with you. We all have a role to play in shaping how this technology is developed and deployed.
Okay, so that's our call to action for the listeners. Stay informed, stay engaged, and don't be afraid to speak up.
Could have said it better myself.
So on that note, let's shift gears and dive into some real-world stories about how people are actually experiencing AI in their daily lives.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Man, we've really gone deep, haven't we? Like from AI regulation to digital warfare and even those scam compounds. It feels like AI is just everywhere.
It really is. And honestly, I think we've only scratched the surface. The potential implications of this technology are just massive. It's hard to wrap your head around it all.
It is mind-blowing, for sure. But I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is that this isn't some far-off future we're talking about, you know? AI is already shaping the world in these really profound ways.
It's already a part of our daily lives, even if we don't always realize it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what are you still thinking about? What's really sticking with you?
For me, it's the tension between AI's incredible potential and the very real risks that come with it. Like, on one hand, you have this powerful tool that could revolutionize so many things, healthcare, education, even help us tackle climate change. But then on the other hand, you have the potential for job losses, algorithmic bias, even the development of autonomous weapons.
It's like we're at this crossroads, and the decisions we make now are going to have a huge impact on what the future looks like. So how do we navigate all of this? Like, where do we even begin?
Well, I don't think there are any easy answers, but I think it starts with asking the right questions. Like, what values do we want to guide the development of AI? How do we make sure that it benefits everyone, not just a select few? How do we strike that balance between innovation and regulation?
And those are questions for everyone, not just the tech experts or the people making policy, because this is a technology that's going to impact all of us.
Exactly. We all have a stake in this.
So if there's one thing I want our listeners to take away from this conversation, it's that this isn't just some abstract tech issue. You know, this is about our future, and we all need to be a part of shaping it.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for this deep dive into the world of AI. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, stay curious out there.
And stay engaged.